Good morning, gang. Happy Saturday. So hopefully people have some fun plans for the weekend, and I'm hoping it's warm enough I can actually do some stuff outside today. But I want to touch on something here, and we've talked about this quite a bit, about inflation and money being wasted and all this sort of stuff. So, if y'all didn't notice last night that information came out that 46 is now trying to figure out how to come up with a $50,000 forgiveness of student loan debt again. Okay. Now, disclaimer, I've still got student loan debt. Okay. So yeah, this would affect me. Do I agree with it on the forgiveness? No. If it's offered to me, am I going to take it? I'm not an idiot. All right. But I don't agree with it because here's why. All right. Biden made a promise that he would forgive $10,000 worth of student loan debt. Okay, that's still a lot of money, all right? But you had Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, the class idiot, AOC, all talking about they want 50 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand. So 46 is now coming up with, he's trying to find the legal basis where he can forgive $50,000 worth of student loans for every student loan debtor. Okay, swipe of a pen, executive order, and poof, it's done. All right, which of course the interesting part is those can always be overturned. And let's say you get a new president that comes in and goes, "We're reinstating all of those." So talk about, dangling a carrot in front of people. But that's beside the point. So the article had said something that's very true, but it left out something that was very important, and I figured that part out. Go figure me, okay? So as the information came out, the majority of student loan debt holders are middle class and upper middle class people. Go figure, okay? So who is 46 trying to bail out? Well, basically, this is, again, another thing of political pandering, okay? Trying to do something for your base. Now, obviously, he can't come up and go, we're only going to give $50,000 to those who voted for me and not for 45, but you get the point, okay? So he's trying to do it. So I kind of crunched the numbers here a little bit, all right? And if I can pull this up here, give me a second. All right. So according to figures that I could find that were from January 4th, 2021, so that, less than 90 days old, okay? The average student loan debt per borrower is $32,731. So under the 50 grand, okay? So for them, it would pretty much wipe out everything, okay? The number of student loan borrowers is 44.7 million people have student loan debts. Now, according to these numbers, and again, mind you, this is less than 90 days old, 86 days old, okay? Total student loan debt is $1.52 trillion. Now, remember that number. So I did the math, and if you've got 44.7 million borrowers, people that are indebted, and you forgive $50,000 per, well, 50,000 times the amount of borrowers comes out to $2,235 billion. Now, mind you, this goes back, like I said, $2,235 billion. Except if there's only $1.52 trillion in debt out there, why does it need to be that high? Where's this other $800 billion going to? Well, the big guy gets 10%, right? I don't know. Maybe. Is that a possibility? So you look at this. Now, mind you where student debt is held, okay? You have, government-backed student debt, and you have private-backed student debt. Now, I'm going to guess that the debt that they're going to try to forgive, at least first, is going to be the government-backed student debt, okay? Because, the government can give away their own notes, if you will, their own, they can forgive their own debt. If it gets into the point of this is now also going to forgive private student loan debt, which is where you have a bank, okay? Think of your little community credit union or, your little bank on the corner or whatever. If the government now says they have to forgive the student loan debt because, little Joey borrowed money from there, now the bank's going to lose money like crazy, all right? Because not only are they losing the income they get from the interest they collect, but they're not going to recoup all that principal anymore. What's going to happen? Remember the savings and loan crisis? Okay. Imagine that with every little community bank. Oh, small business. We can wipe them out too. You see where I'm going with this? All right. We already know that the WEF wants to wipe out every mom and pop business, and you've got the Walmarts and the Amazons left, and they can control those. That's it. Well, now if you can wipe out all the small community banks, the savings, the savings and loans are gone, but the credit unions, and only leave, your Chase Manhattan, your JP Morgan, your Morgan Stanley, and that's all that's left. Oh, guess where those guys are? Those are the ones way up here. The big guys survive and all the little ones starve and die off. So you're into the same scenario again where you're going to squeeze out small business. And again, like I said, where does the other $800 billion come from? Now, let's say they can't touch private debt. Let's say this is all government-backed student loans that they're going to forgive. Well, now the government is basically going to have to, again, crank up those printing presses and come up with another minimum 1.52 trillion, maximum, according to this 50 grand per, 2.2 trillion. Okay, hey, what the hell? Let's just increase the federal deficit another 8%. It's got to the point, guys, where the numbers mean nothing anymore. And we're just going to see more inflation and more inflation and more inflation and more inflation because somehow the government's going to get back the money, okay? Like I said in the video the other day, if you think raising taxes on companies is going to, they're the only ones that are going to pay, it's not going to happen, all right? What's going to happen? The companies are going to raise the price. They're going to hold the extra money so they can pay the extra taxes, so you and me pay it. Same thing with education. Now what are you going to do? Because the colleges are now going to raise the bar, for the amount of tuition, because you're just going to have more and more people going to say, I want to go to college, I want to go to college. And the government's going, well, hell, it's free. Why not? Okay. But here's the problem with that. Who pays the teacher's salary? Who pays for the buildings? Who pays for the electric bill on a college campus? Who pays when they want to build a new football stadium, build a new lecture hall, build a new chemistry lab? Who's going to pay to mow the grass? Who's going to pay to take out the trash? Okay, not that I'm saying that college is affordable. College is ridiculously expensive. Trust me, I just put my daughter through it, okay? College is ridiculously overpriced and over expensive. But I guarantee you all those liberal professors aren't going to go, hey, you know what? I'll work for free. Okay, so somebody's still going to have to pay for this. And why do we have all this student loan debt? Because colleges everywhere would let anybody in. What was your grade point average? I don't care. What's your checkbook balance? That makes more sense to me. Okay, gee, you can afford to write a check, or you qualify for a federal student loan? Cool. Congratulations. I understand you were a D student in high school, but hey, no problem. We'll give you an education here in underwater basket weaving or African American studies or, postmodern dance. It'll cost you 60 grand and you'll never get a job with it. But hey, we got paid. Okay. So this is what we got going, guys. Again, forgive everything. And now all of us are going to get to pay back what everybody else has taken on as debt. I'm perfectly happy paying my own debt. I don't need anybody else to pay it for me. That's fine, okay? I'm not asking for that. But if they wind up doing something like this, Every single person, I mean, this is a funny part. My daughter doesn't have any student debt because I paid for college, okay? And my ex paid for college too. So I have student debt from me going to school. The next generation doesn't. Figure that one out, okay? But fine, I'll pay my own debts. Not a big deal. I don't need my neighbor. I don't want my neighbor to have to incur that. Now, how about all these people that did like I did with my daughter and pay as you went, okay? Doesn't have any student debt. As the one guy asked Elizabeth Warren when she was running for president, am I going to get that money back? And her answer was an emphatic no. Okay, so why are the responsible people getting punished while the people that took on the debt and can't pay it, okay, or won't pay it, are going to get rewarded? It makes no sense. And this goes back to a thing of personal responsibility, guys. Okay. That's the one thing that has completely died in this world. You know, that's the exact reason why we're all being groomed for this World Economic Forum, New World Order, whatever you want to do. It's a shucking of responsibility. You know, now with everything that's out there, I went to college, I couldn't pay my bills. It's not my fault. It's the school's fault because they didn't give me the right education to get a job. Oh, you know what? I can't afford to pay my rent. It's my boss's fault that he doesn't pay me enough to pay my rent. You know, I can't put food on the table. Well, you know what? That's the government's fault because they tax Kroger too much and groceries are too expensive. You know, nothing in there is going, oh, well, you're 22 years old and driving a $70,000 car and you've got a brand new big screen TV on the wall. What about that? Oh, well, I'm entitled to those things. Okay, personal responsibility. No, you're not entitled to a $70,000 car. You're entitled to a $3,000 car at age 22. Okay, you know, one that's got 4 mismatched tires on it, but at least it'll go from point A to point B, and you're responsible for paying your own bills. I'm not responsible for paying your bills. Please, kids, understand that. Your neighbor, your parents, your friends, nobody is responsible for paying your bills except for you. Okay. And until this country, every single person, including the politicians, understand that we are responsible for our own lives, we can make our own decisions and know they are not smarter than we are. I don't need some dingbat like AOC who, you know, can't figure out how to tie her own shoes telling me how to make my decision in life. All right. Guys, this is how bullshit this is getting to be. Everything suddenly has to be free because of personal responsibility is gone. Please instill it in your kids, instill it in your neighbors, do it for yourself, because in the end, as preppers, that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking responsibility for ourselves. We're not expecting anybody else to do it. That's why we're the 1% and the other 99% are like, oh, Mr. Biden, please help me because I'm too dumb. Bullshit. Pinball out.